Coming up on TekThing, lightsabers in a Jedi Challenge, a Nintendo Switch update, a silent mechanical keyboard, and Alienware's 34-inch curved gaming monitor. It's all coming up on TekThing. Thank you, patrons. Without your support via patreon.com/TekThing, we wouldn't be able to make the show for you each and every week. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patty Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every show.
And today we have lightsabers.
Of course we do.
Of course we do.
Why not?
All right, what we actually have is the Star Wars Jedi Challenges, Lenovo and Disney working together. It's kind of a, well, you know, look, all right, we got Lenovo's Mirage AR headset. That's this thing right here. We've got the tracking beacon right here, aka the thing that you center your Jedi training around.
Okay.
There's a phone tray and some tiny USB cables inside of this, and of course, the lightsaber.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. I mean, you saw this and you were like, what?
I was like, what is it? What's this thing? What does it do?
Well, yeah, it's basically Lenovo and Disney working together to bring you an AR augmented reality, because I can see through this.
Yeah, you can see me.
There's like,
so it's like a mirrored image that comes from the phone on top, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lightsaber. Lightsaber
so cool.
Battles. Holochess.
Ooh.
To train your mind. Strategic combat.
Yes.
To learn your strategy. You
Yes.
download the app, runs on iOS or Android. You need a compatible phone, which is kind of that's what's kind of tough, right? iPhone 6 and up, Samsung Galaxy S8, S7 Edge, S7, Google Pixel, Pixel XL, Moto Z, Force Edition, LG G6,
Okay.
and apparently more phones are coming, but it's a short list of well, a lot of iPhones and a short list of Android
Basically,
phones.
it needs to fit in here, so you have to stick with one of the compatible ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
And you actually managed to fit this over your glasses. We were both kind of
did.
curious if that was going to work or not.
I was very happy about that. Yeah, I was curious if it would work on here and if it would press against the sides of my face too much with my glasses on. It did not. It felt really comfortable. Although I do wish the strap on the back of your head was a little bit lower to hit the bottom of the curve of my skull, so that it would kind of give it a little bit more support, so it wouldn't like fall forward or anything.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What was that?
Well, what we actually found is it was this, which is kind of like a giant watch band pin that holds the strap into the top of the Mirage AR headset. So note to self, be a little more gentle when pulling the Mirage AR headset down on your skull.
So that's good to know. It looks like you can just stick the pin back in there and okay, all is well.
This time I'll be just a little more gentle with it.
That's what happens when you record live, man. Things happen.
Stuff happens and life goes on. Actually, that's a little, here, try it on now.
Okay.
Over the glasses.
Okay.
So you gotta keep your head moving on that, because you're basically looking through.
Oh, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
That's
See?
exactly what I wanted on the back right there. That's
Yes,
perfect.
It fits.
It fits now, yay!
So what's kind of crazy is you're basically looking through, if you see these two squares here, your field of view is like this. So in the battles, when you're fighting, here, hold that. When pretend you're fighting the droids, when you're fighting the robots, you kind of got to keep your head moving, otherwise robots come from over here, and if you haven't looked over here, you don't see them. It's like half a postcard size on a battleground. That's less demanding or noticeable when you're doing stuff like Holochess, because you're staring at a chessboard or a Holochess board. If you don't know what a Holochess is, I'll explain later. So $199. This is for the folks that buy the wands at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios.
That would be me.
Or people like me that have been fascinated with lightsabers since that rainy night in 1977 when my life changed at the theater by the Menlo Park Mall.
Oh.
I saw Star Wars. It's fun, right?
Right.
There's several hours gameplay involved in this. I want to say as much as 12 hours if you run the whole thing through.
Okay.
It might be a one-trick pony for a lot of people. And remember, if you have a powerful enough PC, the Star Wars Jedi Challenge is half the cost of a brand new Oculus Rift.
That's true.
Which, of course, is going to be replaced late this year or early next year with the next generation Oculus Rift.
Good point.
We won't get too deep into that, because then we start talking about consumer electronics becoming obsolescence, and we get sad, and we start recycling. Actually, we recycle everything.
We had a lot of fun playing with this in the warehouse.
Yes.
We'll show you some video of that so you can kind of get an experience of what it looks like. But it's neat if you're watching from a if you're just watching somebody play, you can see what they're saying in here because you can kind of see a mirror image of the drones attacking you and things like that.
Yeah.
I went through the training seminar on the game, and it was fairly easy to understand once I understood how to hold the lightsaber correctly. And then it was pretty cool. I was able to defeat Darth Maul on my first try, so I hope that they have different levels of Darth Maul or other...
More Darth Mauliness?
Yeah, more Darth Mauliness,
more
so that
Darth
I can try to defeat him
kicking.
again. It was fun. I liked it.
The only, like, it was kind of funny, like, one of the things that happens is you're swinging it around, sometimes the blade will become misaligned, so you hit the black button to hold that down.
So you hold down, and then it recenters itself, which is similar to what you get on the Daydream VR with the Google too, and the little remote. So that's nothing new for me. I liked it. Did you have fun?
Yeah! I was killing stuff with a lightsaber. Woo!
Let us know what you guys think and if I should take off the plastic on here because I've been staring at it for the whole segment.
Go for it.
Yes!
Few things in this world bring Shannon more joy than removing plastic wrap from new products.
You can squish it. That's so strange.
Here.
Email us, ask@TekThing.com if you have any questions about this. Ooh, it's blue. I'm like, man, I love shiny things.
Ask@TekThing.com or go to Facebook.com/TekThing.
I know a ton of folks are considering buying the Nintendo Switch for the holidays, for their kids, or for themselves. I know a lot of people want it, so I wanted to give you a little bit of a perspective from a Nintendo Switch owner, like what games you should get, most useful accessories.
Are you still playing it? That's the big one.
Do you still play it? So not as much as I first got it, which is kind of obvious with any new console that you're gonna get.
And there was a new Zelda.
There was a new Zelda, and oh my gosh. I'm still going through that Zelda because I am like one of those people that likes to finish my games 100%. So I do all of the side stories. I haven't even gotten to the boss battles because I've just been trying to collect like, you know, everything else in the game, all the weapons. I built a house. It was beautiful. I have all my weapons stored inside of it. Anyway, tangent. I have played this more as a handheld than any other way. It's the best accessory for airplane travel. And since I travel at least once a month, this has come with me on every single plane ride, and it helps me stay entertained for hours on the plane, as long as I bring my battery, which is this gigantic Anker battery, but it works like a charm. So as such, I wanted to show you these accessories online where you can get them and how much they cost, so you can get a good idea of what kind of things you should need if you are also a traveler and you're thinking about buying this for entertaining yourself as you go. So the first one is this Nintendo Switch Premium Console Case. I already did a review on this, so we'll link to that previous episode below. And this Anker PowerCore Plus is the 20,100 USB-C battery. It's the ultra high capacity premium portable charger, but I love it. It's worked perfectly for this, and it just so happens to fit great into the case too. Now, one problem that I have noticed continually is the kickstand on this. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, it was made that way for a purpose, so that if it breaks off, you can easily put it back on, blah, blah, blah. But I don't like it because it is so flimsy. It sits there and it's only on one side, and if you like try to put it on your lap or something, it easily tilts over. If there is a little bit of movement on the flight and you're trying to use the kickstand on your little table, it tosses over. So it's very, very easy for it to just fall over. That's a big complaint of mine.
Fix for this?
Well, not necessarily a fix straight out of the box for the Switch, but there have been a lot of like third parties that have created cases that kind of help with this. One I've been considering buying is this one by Finty. It's the Finty Nintendo Switch case. It comes in a few different colors, and it's only $10 on Prime, so that's a pretty good price. And it's also for protection, so it covers the screen whenever you close it, and it has various different movements that you can make.
I thought you said Fendi for a second. Fendi. I was like, that's going to be a spendy Switch cover.
One thing I was expecting to do is bring the Pro Controller with me because the ergonomics of this is a lot nicer than the Joy-Cons, but I never carry the Pro Controller with me, and I use it exclusively at home on my TV if I ever play it at home.
Is it just because it's too much, it won't fit in the satchel and it's
it's just too bulky for me. It's just carrying more extra stuff on your trips, and although it is more comfortable and I would like to bring it with me, I just don't because I want to save space in my carry-on.
Right.
So I just don't bring it.
At this point, you've probably got, what, upwards of 60, 80 hours playing on this with
easily. Easily, probably more. Easily. Yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun. The Joy-Cons, I find they still are not comfortable to me, but I love the Pro Controller. It's just too much to carry whenever I go on my travels.
Plus
so
the kickstand keeps
I
falling
do
over.
use this whenever I'm just sitting at home. Another thing, if you are considering buying this, if you take a lot of road trips, is a car charger. So luckily they did come out with one. It's $15.89. It's USB-C. Honestly, you can use the Switch with any other USB-C one as long as it powers it at the right wattage. So this is just one of your options. But it is a good one. I have a friend that bought this and he likes it as well. Now for the home players, there is a Play stand that Nintendo came out with, which you can get over at Target. It's 13 bucks. And this one is something that is highly recommended if you have multiple players and you want to have a nice stand for like your coffee table because the kickstand.
You all crowd around the tiny screen.
Yeah, this one is nice because while the photo is kind of small on here, but it lifts it up and it opens up the space at the bottom so that you can charge it at the same time that you're playing.
Oh, cool.
Which is really, really great because if you just use the kickstand, as you can see, the charger is covered up. And that is not fun at all. And moving on from there, I also wanted to tell you about some games. Of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite. I love it so much. I am still playing it. It's amazing. It is well worth the price. And currently you can get it for a little under 60 bucks over on Amazon. Some other games that I've gotten to play include the new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I have not invested in myself, but I'm thinking about. I'm not big on racing games, but it's really fun.
It's a racing game. It's Mario Kart.
It's Mario Kart, I know. It's a nice throwback to the previous ones as well. And Super Mario Odyssey is probably like one of the best games that has come out this year. I love Super Mario Odyssey. I have not purchased this one either, but I got to play it and I was obsessed. I loved it, but yeah, it's just so great. You can capture and take control of objects with this hat that Mario wears, which is so weird and quirky, but it makes for a really, really fun experience. And all the different worlds kind of remind me of the one that you were able to play on Nintendo Wii earlier. So it's a fun game. I like it.
Now we know about the big Nintendo games. Are there more developers making stuff for the Switch? Are there more games being added to the library?
There are, slowly but surely. The library of games is definitely growing more than when they first released the console. They did not have much to choose from. There's been a few on here that have released over this past year. One I am interested in checking out, which I haven't gotten to yet, is this new Pokemon tournament game, which looks really fun. It's like a fighting game for Pokemon. And I'm also interested in playing Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch. That one looks really fun. But otherwise, I'm not really excited about anything other than those top 3 that I previously mentioned. Now, announced earlier this year, there is going to be a full-fledged Pokemon game that will come to the Switch sometime in the next year or two, which is not going to be the tournament one. It'll go along with the other generations of Pokemon games. So if you're into those, you'll probably want to check this one out. It's supposed to be really big.
If you're not a Zelda fan, if you're not a Mario fan, does this automatically lose like 90% of its attraction?
I would say probably. You know, they haven't come out with a lot of other series yet, but they are going to come out with some other series that you might be interested in. There's going to be a new Yoshi game, a new Kirby game, a new Metroid Prime 4 game, which is super exciting. So I know that's going to sell some people on it. Something I'm also excited about testing out is the Nintendo Switch Online, which will be 20 bucks a year, and it allows you to play all sorts of classic games from the original NES. Now, they haven't stated if it's going to include like Super Nintendo games or N64 games as well. Right now, it's just NES Classic games, and I also don't know how big that library is going to be. They've just confirmed a few games for it.
Because it's hard to travel with the NES Classic.
Right? Yeah.
You know, on the plane.
Yeah, I mean, it's small, but I'm not going to travel with like more than one console in my purse, so this one is the one that I'm going to go with. But if I can play those games online, 20 bucks a year is pretty fair, especially if they have a really large library. So am I still loving it? Yes, though I don't play it as much as I used to, of course. And part of that is because I'm crazy busy, but you know, things happen. I'm an adult.
You know, but also like when you first get a new console, it seems like you spend like 24/7 for the first few weeks, and then
that's true.
It ratchets down after a while.
Yeah, it's totally true, but I still love it. I still think it's worth the money, and I'm really, really happy that I invested in it because it's so much fun.
You've spent a lot of time on that thing.
Yes, I have. Probably too much.
Are you thinking about buying a console for this holiday shopping season? What are you looking at? Switch? Sony?
New Xbox?
Microsoft? Let us know. Email ask@tekthing.com. We're curious. Got a question for Shannon and I? Do us a favor, send it to ask@tekthing.com, or you can tweet at TekThing, at Snubs, or at Patrick Norton. And hey, if you want to be part of the crew that makes TekThing possible, please contribute to the show at patreon.com/TekThing. That makes it possible for Shannon and I to do all the things that we need to do to make the show, to bring the show to you. Seriously, thank you so much for supporting the show, no matter how you do it. I have become a huge fan of HyperX's Alloy FPS. It's a mechanical keyboard. Love it. It's compact. It's got Cherry MX Red keys built into it. That technically,
it's pretty.
Yeah, it is. And technically, the MX Red keyboards aren't tactile or clicky loud the way the MX Blues are, but they still manage to make enough noise to really piss my wife off at 2 a.m. when I'm doing some high-speed typing on scripts, or maybe getting some private time in with my collection of Steam games.
I mean, to be honest, I can definitely hear you from your corner of the warehouse to my corner of the warehouse whenever you type on that thing.
Yeah, it is not a quiet keyboard by any stretch of the Americas. Which brings us to this, ladies and gentlemen. Cherry America's G80-3000 MX Red.
Ooh.
Yeah, Cherry's added the option of getting silent keyboards for the red or the black keys in their venerable G80-3000 keyboards. And it is an interesting idea. I mean, think about it, right? Silent. The same fast linear feel, the same light touch, 45 centinewtons of force. Yes, I had to look that up on Wikipedia. 1.9 millimeters of pre-travel. So it's a smite faster than the 2 millimeter in a standard MX Red. Not that I can feel the difference. But you know, it's a tenth of a millimeter of travel. That's measurable.
That matters, man.
It matters. And the reason it's silent, and we'll talk about what silent means in a second. If you take a look, this is a Cherry MX Red keyboard, right? And there's the mechanical switch part.
Yeah.
And there's the springs. Isn't it glorious?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Yeah. Well, this is the silent one. It's got bumpers.
Oh.
See that extra gray material there?
Yeah.
There's material, basically an impact absorber. A bump stop in the off-road sort of kind of lifestyle thoughts that I have. Damps out the noise when your fingers smash the keys down.
Okay.
Or tap the keys down. So let's talk about how silent it is. I left my Alloy keyboard at home. So I've got a Corsair with, this is
oh yes,
Corsair's kind of variation on the Reds, but let's listen. Right, it's a standard mechanical keyboard sound. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us listen to the silent MX Red. Okay, it's not silent, but it's definitely less punchy.
It is a 15 decibel difference when I put this in my audio recorder.
So you just heard the two keyboards tapping next to my microphone. So if silent means not making any sound, the silent MX Red is a failure.
Oh.
Now hold on, but if silent means way quieter than a standard MX Red keyboard, the silent MX Red is a success. It's several dB quieter. If you throw a meter at it, the number that comes from Cherry is that it's about 30% quieter, which is a pretty big bump down in noise.
Right.
What was odd for me was getting used to a mechanical keyboard, and I handed it to you, and you're like, ah!
Yeah, I was.
Getting used to a mechanical keyboard that's about as quiet as most membrane keyboards. The sound is a big part of a mechanical keyboard.
Yeah.
I really didn't like the silent keys at first, not because they felt different to my fingers, but because that aural feedback was so much softer. So I pressed on McDuff and kept using it until I stopped thinking about it, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a success. Like, a few days. It's like getting used to a new keyboard on a new laptop where you're like, this is everything, and 4 days later you're like, I'm so awesome.
You get used to it.
You get used to it. So the Cherry MX Red is an interesting key for Cherry. It's a nice new key because it does what the old key did with less noise. If you care about noise, derp.
Yeah.
Here's the challenge, though, the problem. It is $150 for a silent Cherry G80 keyboard. Basically,
are there some fancy LEDs on there?
There's plastic.
Oh.
$150 feels kind of steep for the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
It's very plasticky. Here.
It's very expensive.
Does it feel sumptuous? Does it feel like a luxurious gaming keyboard? Because you can get a fairly luxurious gaming keyboard for $150. Is
it all plastic? It doesn't even feel like there's like brushed aluminum or anything.
No, it's plastic.
It's all plastic.
Look, I mean, most mechanical keyboards in this price range, for example, the HyperX Alloy FS, which has a solid steel frame, backlit keys, a slick compact design, costs $100. $50 less, $96.99 if you go to the cherry blue keys. It feels good, and it's a lot more attractive on the desktop. And the backlit keys actually help me when I'm trying to remember where the F10 key is.
So they are backlit, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a touch typist, but backlit keys make me really happy. Yeah. These are not backlit. The $150 keyboard does not have backlit keys. It is a classic plastic set of keys and key enclosure. So beware. Silent keys aren't silent, though they are way quieter and feel the same once you get over the difference in what your ears hear, which is really cool. The Cherry G80 feels kind of expensive for $150 if you put it next to a full Zoot framed gaming keyboard with steel and mayhem and backlighting.
The kind that I usually buy.
Yeah, we got a lot of them floating around here. I suspect the engineers at Cherry could tell me exactly why this might outlast my steel framed beast from HyperX. But, you know, fortunately, there are a ton of keyboards out there with silent Cherry MX keys if you're looking for a quieter Cherry MX mechanical keyboard experience. For example, the campers over at Corsair have their Strafe lineup. And I'm sure there are lots of other options if you get your Google on.
Cool. Good to know.
Silent is not silent, it's just a lot quieter. This is a positive thing for maintaining harmony in the household if you're a late night gamer.
That's true.
And, you know, I like the keys. I'm not a huge fan of $150 for this keyboard.
I do wonder about the durability. Will this last as long as the old school keyboards? Or will it fail like my gaming keyboards usually do in like 2 to 3 years? I'm curious.
We got to get you a nice 20-year-old IBM keyboard.
There we go. I'll be ready for that, man. Let us know what you think. Ask at TekThing.com, or you can tweet at Patrick Norton.
Said it a few times. Love my Dell U3415W ultra-wide monitor. Paid for it out of my own grubby little pockets. But if you're a serious gamer, you probably want higher frame rates than 60 Hertz, and maybe you want G-Sync or FreeSync. Which brings us to our review opportunity in the monitor world this week, the new Alienware 34 curved gaming monitor.
Yeah!
I like the blunt force title, the AW3418DW. Ava, we'll chat later. You know, so this was announced earlier this summer. They said it was like a $1,500 MSRP.
Ooh.
Heart-stopping.
Yeah.
It's actually selling for $999.99, which is a couple $100 more than a lot of the other ultra-wide non-G-Sync monitors out there.
That's true.
Also, not quite twice the cost of Alienware's 25-inch 1080 monitor that runs 240 Hertz, which we showed Shannon, actually. You reviewed that earlier.
Yeah, that was a fun one to play with. I loved it. It was very pretty.
Did you manage to get it up over like 200 Hertz?
I'll have to go back and check.
How fast can you frame your rates?
It was fun though. It was fun to review. The only thing I didn't like about that one was how big the stand was.
The spiky stand?
Because it had a lot, it took up a lot of room on my desk.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a second, because we both agreed on that one. So the 34, unlike the 25-inch Alienware monitor, is G-Sync only. There's no FreeSync option. And given it's about impossible to buy an AMD Radeon Vega GP right now, that probably won't bother you too much.
Good to know.
Unless you have an older AMD card, in which case it probably irritates the snot out of you.
They still got the Alienware style, though, I see.
Alienware style is Alienware style. And it's toned down a bit, a lot of gunmetal gray here. You either like it or you don't. And if you like LEDs, you're going to love the fact that Alien FX means you have 4 customizable lighting zones to really make the most of your battle station.
Yay!
Yay! I'm going to quote here, create and download unique themes effortlessly for over 145 different games. So your lighting on your monitor can match the game you're playing.
Right, correct. Just like the 24-inch.
Yeah.
25-inch, sorry.
Much like Shannon, I am not a fan of the base on this, right? So you have a monitor, and you've got the stick the monitor attaches to, and then you have this giant V, which is really stable if maybe you're the kind of gamer that manages to, you know, bang your
I do have a friend
around.
that recently bent his desk in because he got so mad during a video game. So it's entirely possible that those kind of frames are good.
Okay, I don't ever want to get that angry at a video game.
Me neither.
I probably did in my 20s, but that's a whole nother conversation.
But it does. It just takes up a lot of space, and they protrude out forward, so it pulls your. It makes you have to stick your keyboard closer to you. So you need a much higher depth desk than you normally would.
Lovely for a corner desk, though.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it just takes up a lot of Z. I actually really like the fact it's got, you know, there's a huge amount of height adjustment. It will tilt for you. And the little tiny bezel that wraps around the screen is very aesthetically pleasing.
So pretty.
That's our phrase of Q4, aesthetically pleasing. The cable routing on the Alienware 34 is effective, but getting the cable through that little right angle dongle sort of space in the base of the stand is a pain in the ass. You're probably only going to wrestle cables through the base one time, hopefully. Okay. But if you want or need to tilt the monitor back to its fullest distance, you're going to have to keep the jump from the base to the back, the cable where it kind of goes from the stick in the back, the mount in the back, to the monitor itself. You're going to have to keep a fair amount of cable out of there, which if you adjust it down this way, you end up with what I will call an unsightly bundle of cables.
Right, of course. You don't want to pull them too taut, or else it might pull one of them out and then damage your port.
That would be awkward.
Or your cable.
And expensive. Yeah, seeing the cables below the monitor kind of annoyed me. I want them hidden. This is not my favorite cable hiding arrangement.
How about the curvature?
1900R, so a little narrower than I like. So the U3415W, as I want to say, 3400 or like imagine a 3.4 meter circle, or a 3400 millimeter circle. This one, imagine a 1900 millimeter circle. So it curves a lot more, much narrower, tighter curve.
So it's more like this, while the Dell is more like that.
Yeah, well the 34, like there's a 3417 that is very similar to this. It's within a couple hundred millimeters of that giant circle you're looking at the curvature of. So if you're doing stuff in Windows, text, spreadsheet, browsers and stuff, you will notice, especially in the first couple weeks, you're going to notice it kind of curves. You know, what should be a straight line kind of looks like this. I'm exaggerating here for the purposes of reviewing on the video.
I did notice that when I first got a curved monitor, and then after I'd been using it for a while, I didn't notice it as much.
I noticed it a lot more on the ones that, the more they curve, the more I notice it. After a couple weeks, it tends to go away. And you're not going to notice it at all in gaming, because full screen immersive stuff is immersive. You're not looking at like, is that straight line actually straight? Because you don't really have a point of reference for that. Colors are great. It's an IPS display. You know, the reason we've said like that I mean, I'm happy gaming at 60 hertz. I'm not a great gamer. I have a much better relationship with my children than I do to, you know, Rocket League. More the pity to my Rocket League abilities. You know, but you know, the color 3400 by 1440 WQHD resolution, it's all fantastic, and that's basically what the Alienware 34 is running, 3440 by 1400. But the big advantage it has that makes it better for gaming is the refresh rate, right? Typical desktop monitor rocks itself along at 60 hertz. The Alienware 34 runs WQHD. It's got a 100 hertz module in it that can be overclocked to 120 frames per second using the overclock refresh rate settings. There's a button for that. 100 hertz was more than happy for me. I didn't get too deep into the overclocking on the monitor because there's only so much pain I can take in my life, and I did my overclocking pain in another area earlier this year.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
It's really pretty. It's really pretty, actually. But what made it really, really pretty was G-Sync.
Yes.
Before I get too far into G-Sync, because you and I are going to riff on that, there's a shortcut key for preset color modes. There's a key for the dark stabilizer, and what it'll do is like basically, if you have a really dark game, you can sort of click the dark. There's 3 settings to increase the brightness of the darkness when you're in a dark game.
So those settings are just like the 25-inch monitor that they also came out with. So if you had watched my review on that, you know exactly how that menu is set up already.
Yeah, you can do like, there's like 3 preset for games, there's 3 custom areas for games, there's all of the presets you could possibly want, and of course brightness and contrast and the regular menu. 100% sRGB coverage. I had some difficulty with the Alienware Gaming Monitor Control Center application because it didn't think I had an Alienware monitor. That appears to be a driver issue related to me. So hopefully, as far as I know, that hasn't impacted anybody else. So we couldn't easily tweak the LEDs in the monitor to match our battle station.
That's good to know, because we didn't have the same problem with the previous one. That one worked fine.
It's probably, like, I just did another installation of Windows 10, so who knows what box of excitement in hardware land, driver land.
Yay, compatibility!
It's a service now, and mostly I love the service, but sometimes there's an update and something breaks and I weep.
So let's talk about G-Sync, because I'm curious to hear if it made a difference with your GPU.
Well, okay, so I'm running GTX 1070, you know, WQHD resolution, 3400 by 1400. Yes.
Okay.
It made a difference.
Yay!
It was way more subtle than I expected, mostly because my game collection, Rocket League, doesn't really tax my GPU, and I'm playing spin tires, and I'm, you know, I mean, I'm playing stuff that doesn't really tax my GPU.
We need to get that new Call of Duty game that my husband just got in. That would probably tax it.
It would probably tax it. So, yeah, here's the thing. The biggest impact or the most noticeable situation for folks, like if you're fighting over whether or not you want VSync on or off on a 60 hertz display, because your graphics card is kind of having some troubles, or if you know you can use a new graphics card, or if you're, you know what I mean? If you're stuck in that middle where you're seeing all the tearing and the mayhem, G-Sync is so good for you.
Yay, okay.
You know, if you're like me where you're playing games that don't tax your GPU and you don't see a lot of it, it's going to be much more subtle. You actually caught it first in Rocket League.
Yes, I did. But I noticed it more so in the background. But when you were moving around and actually playing the game, you don't notice the tearing as much. You definitely see it whenever you're at a standstill and you're looking at the scenery in front of you in the video game. Because then if there's specific lines in the background, you can see those tearing like no matter what.
Yeah. Tons of USB ports. They've got a line-out port, headphone jack, 3 years advanced exchange service, and 3 years limited hardware warranty, which is a pretty nice guarantee on a monitor.
Yeah.
$999. If you're a hardcore gamer looking for an ultra-wide, I'd put it on your list. I think we need to look at more of these monitors because I'm just curious now.
Me too. I love looking at monitors.
Apparently,
I'm such a geek.
I need to buy some games so I can be like a real gamer and actually tax my GPU.
It's fine. I'll handle the games.
I'm ashamed.
Remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close your laptop, and do something analog. Like Joe, who emailed us his analog pic. He said, I missed the eclipse because I was doing something else analog, an Alaskan cruise.
Nice.
So my something analog suggestion would be a whale watching tour, and I have pictures, animations, videos to share. I love my Sony a6000 from Joe. He sent some pictures along with that.
That's pretty awesome.
I love the animations. Google Assistant does some great animations if you take pictures with it. It's really cool. Oh, this one's a video. Yeah, video.
Dun, dun, dun. Flukes.
So that is one thing that I have yet to do in the San Francisco Bay Area, but it's one thing that I really want to do is go whale watching, because I've never seen a whale in real life. And now I'm jealous because you have.
It's pretty awesome.
This is so cool.
And there's a lot of whales out there in the right part of the year.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh man, look at that. Thank you so much for sending that in, Joe. Really appreciate it. And it sounds like an amazing trip. So I highly, highly want to know which Alaskan cruise you went on, because it sounds really cool.
There's whales.
Whales!
Whales!
I think that's it.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. You've never seen a whale?
I've never seen a whale in real life, except for like a beluga whale at SeaWorld when I was a kid, and that's about it.
Yeah.
P.S. everyone, I'm having a meetup in Tokyo on November 18th. I know this is coming out before it. I think it is coming out before it. Yes, it is coming out before it. So if you are in Tokyo, feel free to meet up with me. Info is at snubsy.com on my blog.
And we should mention that this was pre-recorded because Shannon's actually behind her scene is in Japan doing things.
And also, if you are on our RSS, you probably haven't seen the videos that I've been posting to YouTube, which include a 30-day security challenge. It's been super fun to do that. Pre-recorded that as well. So I would have something going out while I'm gone.
I've been linking the Snubsy webpage.
Thank you. I much appreciate that.
I thought it would be nice to have them all.
You're so sweet. I did a playlist too on YouTube.